What's up, you guys? Sean Sapp. This is May 22nd. This is the Fightful post-SmackDown show. We have plenty of stuff to talk about. Intercontinental title tournament. A trade went down. There's a match set for Backlash for the WWE Championship. But I am joined by Mr. Warren Hayes, who will not be joining me on the AEW post show this weekend. I guess I shouldn't act like that because I've literally only been on one of those ever. So
That's true. I've covered quite a few of those, haven't I? But yeah, life happens sometimes. I will be watching. I'm excited to, at least for a couple of matches. I'm looking forward to it, but I won't be in the position to stream.
Hey, well, it happens. Well, you know what? You can follow along with Warren's thoughts at Mr. Warren Hayes. You can follow along with me at Sean Sapp. We will have AEW Double or Nothing coverage. We have the Cody Media Call up on youtube.com/Fightful. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. It helps us out greatly, as do Super Chats. If you want your question or statement read live on the air during this show, donate a Super Chat. Any amount gets it done. I also have a Q&A show that drops on our premium service, FightfulSelect.com. Every single week, I answer over 100 questions, usually hang around for about an hour and answer every question that you guys throw my way. We've got backstage news shows. We've got Raw, SmackDown, 205, Impact, Ring of Honor reviews. It's got about anything you could ask for over there, and we're just going to keep adding more. I've had a lot of news posted up there about backstage Ring of Honor meetings that they've had with talent to get input, a lot of stuff about how they're allowing people to anonymously provide feedback within the company. A lot of cool stuff going on there. Had some Impact news. If you're wanting to know what to expect out of The Undertaker's last ride on Sunday, I've got a lot of notes up on FightfulSelect.com. And I dropped a video today on YouTube, 5 things we learned from that episode. So there's no shortage of stuff to check out ahead of AEW Double or Nothing. But let's go ahead and get into SmackDown. We have Braun Strowman defeating The Miz. This is after we start off with the dirt sheet. What did you think about this initial dirt sheet? I thought that a lot of them were corny. This one still was, a little bit less so than others, but still leaving a lot to be desired for me.
I'm so conflicted about this one. I'm very, very conflicted because I thought I didn't like it, oddly enough, right until Braun came out. I thought the whole setup was long in the tooth. I thought it was very convoluted. And this gimmick, like this late night show gag, skit setup. It was here are puppets that have been rejected. You've seen Johnny Carson did that in the 90s, and it's such a trope. I'm like, okay, all right. And it wasn't even funny. It was actually quite cringe.
I don't know if any of their stuff is like intended to be funny.
But then, see, that's the thing, is that Braun comes out, and then they have that 3-way interaction, which was really, really good. Morrison was holding his own on this one. He was like driving his point home, super eloquent, was doing everything he had to do. Miz was like, hang on. And their timing was so spot on. I was like, this is actually pretty good. So it's a 50-50 segment for me, Sean.
Well, Braun Strowman comes out, and this is where I thought it got good, because Morrison is cutting a scathing promo on Braun Strowman, and I loved this. Mm-hmm. This was so funny because he knew that he wasn't getting himself into shit. He knew he was going to get Miz into shit. So therefore, he's not backing down from Braun Strowman. This, I think, is one of the best things that Morrison's done since he's been back. And even Miz is laughing about it. He's like, hey, let's calm down just a little bit. I don't want to do this. And then Braun's like, okay, let's have a match. And it's fun, and Strowman crushes the Miz. At one point, Strowman posted himself, but then he does this heaving suplex that he has adopted, and I love it. Yeah. It works for him, and a running power slam to end it. I thought all that stuff was pretty good. What a contrast from what we had just seen. But what did you think of it?
I thought, like I said, the Morrison cutting his promo on Braun was fantastic. I thought the dynamic with Miz was perfect. Their timing is impeccable. Like you get it. These guys get along well. They have great chemistry with each other. It just clicks. You understand they're friends in real life. It's just something that's very natural to the both of them. The match was what it was, and led into the setup, but it was fine. It was fine for what it was, but I was kind of excited to move past this. I was looking for something a little more substantial to sink my teeth into because we had a great lineup on SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, I thought SmackDown was a lot of fun tonight. After the match, John Morrison challenges Braun Strowman to a handicap match at Backlash, and I was like, I don't want to see this on Backlash. Then he says, for the title. And here's the thing. I know they're not going to win the title, but I'm still kind of interested in this because just last week, I think I was saying, yeah, let's give Braun Strowman some more smaller guys, some fast guys to work with. Not only does he get one, he gets two. And it's for the title. I'd rather them do it for the title than not for the title, even if Braun's going to win. I know it's a little bit weird, but I'm open to it. I'm open. I'm more open-minded for things in this landscape than I would be normally. So I'll reserve judgment on it. I think it's fine. Braun's going to win.
My main problem with it is kind of the same problem that I have with Double or Nothing this weekend, where you have a series of matches or at least title matches. You have title matches where the outcome is extremely clear, and there's nothing to really get excited about because the outcome is so extremely clear. And I concur. There's a certain level of, hey, we got to make do, guys, and I can put a little water in my wine, so to speak, for that. But I'm looking forward to getting excited for a title match, a WWE pay-per-view title match. Like, even as much as I'm looking forward to seeing Drew versus Bobby Lashley, I'm not hyped for it. Like, there's no way Drew is going to drop the title so soon. So, okay, it's just stuff happening. Backlash is probably going to be like a stacked episode of Raw as opposed to a pay-per-view where you're really, really excited for everything to happen on it. I don't know. It's coming together, but not getting me hype.
Miz is backstage and he's a little upset about the match, but then Morrison reminds him that they have a title match now. Renee asks why they think they can win, and I like that John Morrison goes, well, Braun doesn't have a good track record in handicap matches.
Which is true.
I like that. Reward me for watching the show, even if it's little like that. Korosami 1997 sends a super chat. Reminder, donate a super chat, any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. He says, this is for Sean destroying the idiots on Twitter yesterday. That doesn't narrow it down, my friend. He says, I'll just say this. Unless somebody is a dick, I usually don't say anything negative to them on Twitter. Almost never. And uncalled for will I do that. And he says, Seth couldn't have responded better to the crap said about Becky. I agree. I thought that Seth Rollins, this was a far cry from the Seth Rollins we saw that was perceived as a crybaby on social media last year. I thought he had a well thought out response and all that. And he said, there are people, including Jim Cornette, that are saying, oh, why couldn't she have just got pregnant some other time? Well, when you hit 35, that ain't exactly smooth sailing for a lot of people. And he straight up put that out there, and I thought he did great. I thought he was awesome. And here's the thing, guys. Whether or not someone holds a WWE championship, it is none of your fucking business about when they decide to get pregnant. She is not contractually obligated to not get pregnant. You want to know why? Because that's illegal. So, there you go. And if you're one of those people that say that, they're like, oh my God, she really did WWE dirty. Go shit your own pants. I probably don't even need to instruct you to do that, if that's the case.
I just want to throw this out here. We get into some weird conversations sometimes on wrestling Twitter, right? is Liv Morgan buried or not?
Oh,
for instance,
come on.
And stuff.
Are you talking about that one guy? Guy with the account? Oh.
But going on a public platform and on your podcast to discuss the merits of a woman deciding to have a baby, to found a family, regardless of her employment, is the most 1959 shit that we could be talking about. And it is not even something we should be talking about. We should be congratulating her, congratulating Seth, and moving on with our goddamn lives.
Yeah.
Not everything revolves around WWE, guys. Martha Hart doesn't want to put Owen into the Hall of Fame, and it's her prerogative. It's fine, and we should respect that instead of being a bunch of fucking babies about it. Excuse me. There we go.
Rob Wilkins says, I hear the best form of birth control is Jim Cornette. Hey, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into a war, all that stuff. I saw the Leo Rush stuff today too, and I was just like, what's the point? What's the point, man? I mean, look at it this way. Him and Joey Janela had figured out all their problems at Chili's.
Sure.
So why not? So I'll just let it. I'm just saying. I thought that Seth responded very well and very eloquently. I thought that was good. DJ Cass says, I admit I like the in-ring aspect of SmackDown tonight, but between the trade and handicap match for the world title, just gave me a headache. It doesn't give me a headache, the handicap match. The person who gets the pin wins the title, I would assume, or maybe it's co-champion thing. I'm open to it. I'm open to seeing what they cook up. Maybe it'll be stupid. Maybe it won't. But it was announced via a wild line, which is a post-production line. AJ Styles has been traded to SmackDown for future considerations. Warren, I want your thoughts. Avery Dunn says the most frustrating part of these trades that go nowhere is the fact they could be very cool stories told if it weren't for the BS wildcard and invitational. Trades could affect motivations. I agree.
We're right now in a context where the borders are open between the brands. Why are we trading suddenly? Why is it? And why not just come out and say it? Why not just come out? You, Sean, tonight put out a tweet. You made a recap, right, of all the the trades.
I missed one. I missed the fact that they just moved Mojo because.
Oh, right. That's right. But it's ridiculous. And here, just this year, right? Brock just jumped to SmackDown because he could, because he's Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
Bliss Cross Applesauce were traded for future, and we all remember how well that went, right? With Alexa being traded first. And then what are they doing with Nikki? Oh, all of a sudden Nikki shows up. Apollo Crews being moved to Raw because draft picks were set to expire. Okay. And now we're here again.
That's the thing. I don't know what that means. And if I have one person that says, well, if you watch sports, you would know what that means. Apollo Crews was moved for draft picks that were set to expire. What the hell does that mean? Because I had people popping up and saying, oh, well, it was implied that was Alexa and Nikki. No, it wasn't. And you know how you imply something like that? You just say it. I laid out a lot of possibilities last year. Brock Lesnar says he can just move between brands. That doesn't put Brock Lesnar over. That buries the concept of the draft you had just had people sit through and told was important. That you told us that these Fox and USA executives were so concerned about. So, you know what you say? You say, oh, well, even though this wasn't a trade, we had to figure something out, so we gave SmackDown first rights to sign Naomi, the Usos, and Sheamus. Seems like a pretty good package deal. You make sense of it.
And that's it.
And that's it. But no, they fucking individually drafted Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, then traded them collectively for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of people said, oh, well, wasn't it implied that Nikki and... Nope, because they would have just said it. Hey, if WWE wants you to know something, they're going to beat it over your head, Warren.
That's a very good point. And I was going to say I make no bones about it. I don't watch much of pro sports, but I understand how drafts work. And I'm pretty sure that during a draft of any kind, or especially in trade season, there are no implied circumstances. Yes. I'm pretty sure everything is pretty much goddamn above the board. And the other thing that's really infuriating, the most infuriating thing is that despite the fact that I'm compelled to give them WWE some leeway because they are working with a reduced roster, and I understand the circumstances why they've decided to do this, but they never leave the brand split be a brand split. We don't get used to having two completely separate sides that never speak to each other, that never talk to each other. Then there's the Invitational or the Wild Card last year, and then we get to SummerSlam, and not SummerSlam, but Survivor Series, and then we're like, I don't care what happens at Survivor Series. There are no teams. I don't know who to root for, because for the past year you've been telling me people can jump around as much as they want. So I don't care.
And I had somebody that said, "Oh, Brock can move around whenever he wants. Who's going to stop him?" I don't know. Seth Rollins,
a legal team.
Drew McIntyre. I don't know. Anybody that's beaten him. Roman Reigns. Plenty of people have stopped Brock Lesnar.
Sure.
I don't know. Go find John Cena. He'll stop him just fine. Did it great 8 years ago. Who's going to stop Brock Lesnar? That is the laziest ass reason. And the fact that they're so lazy they've done this like 4 times is amazing, because they could just say this was to complete the trade earlier. They could literally have said, we sent AJ over to SmackDown because to complete the Brock deal. Even though he says he can do what he wants, unfortunately Fox does not believe that he can do what he wants, and we had to set something up.
And I think just to cap this one off, I think the thing that bothers me the most, and I'm pretty sure this ends up bothering us very subconsciously, is that it is proof positive that WWE does no forward thinking, does no planning, that it's always fly by the seat of your pants booking. It's something that we've complained about in the past, and when it becomes transparent like this, where it's like, oh, suddenly we're pulling this out, and you're like, really? I mean, we get excited when WWE announces a match a week in advance. We get excited, which is weird, but still we like it when that happens, because at least it shows that they have some forward thinking in what they're trying to do. When they pull off this kind of stuff, man, it just exposes a whole underbelly that is just that doesn't help you appreciate what they're trying to do.
Rob Wilkins says SRS and Janela should interview Sting at Chili's. I'm trying to interview Sting. You know what? I'm going to make a Sting interview happen. Come hell or high water. I will interview Sting on this website in June. Mark my words. Joseph Farley says the trades are like if the Bobby Bonilla deal was made by people more incompetent than the Mets. For those of you who don't know, Bobby Bonilla had a deal that still pays him $1 million a year from the New York Mets. He retired like 20 years ago, by the way. Yikes. But I thought AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura was pretty good. It wasn't Wrestle Kingdom, but I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
It was fine.
It was, I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. But I don't know. It didn't click for me. There was one moment that I went, ooh, was when they did when AJ did like the half-ass Styles clash
out of the triangle, yeah.
Which is a callback to their Wrestle Kingdom 9 match. Sure. They did that maybe not the exact same spot, but Styles and Nakamura did that. It was okay. I wasn't expecting a Wrestle Kingdom rematch on that level. Not here, not on a Friday night, not when they had the big match at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, and it just went.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it before. Nakamura is not Shinsuke Nakamura today is not the Shinsuke Nakamura that debuted 2 years ago. Far from it. That star power, that allure is gone, and WWE doesn't seem interested in rebuilding it, or maybe Shinsuke isn't interested in it either. You know, it could go either way. But this was okay. I mean, it's far from being a bad match, but it didn't click. You know, I thought they had a good final 2 to 3 minutes, but that was it for me.
I mean, it was slow paced, and that was the issue with their match a couple of years ago. But I rather enjoyed it. I loved the calf crusher spot. They laid in their strikes. Cole called, I mean, it's a Samoan driver, but they never call it a Samoan driver on TV. It's the seated fireman's carry slam, and he is like, Michinoku driver. And I was like, no, it's not. It's just not, man.
And besides, it's called a saber driver now, in case you haven't been paying attention.
There you go. And Styles wins with a phenomenal forearm. I really like this. AJ moves on in the tournament, and he is traded to SmackDown. And the thing is, this was very clearly added in after they filmed this. And I can't remember if they filmed this week or last week. I think it was last week. But the heavy post-show editing was evident on this program.
Yes, I agree. Who are they trading them for? Who's being traded? It has to be a tag team, right? No, but I'm being serious. It has to be a tag team. If we're just speculating and talking amongst ourselves, if you're going to trade, you can't do a 1-for-1 with AJ Styles. It has to be either
Usos and Naomi, for the love of God, or something.
Because
I mean, Usos are going to be sitting out for a while. Naomi has been losing all the time, but even then, it's like, God, man, that leaves it very one-sided anyway. Yikes, man. We have a non-title champion versus champion match. Bayley tells Sasha Banks that she doesn't want her at ringside for this match. Banks watches on, but she wasn't happy, at least until the middle of the match. She had a smile on her face. This was a good one. God, Bayley is so good. I think she has benefited from the fact that there is not a crowd because we get to hear her verbal skills. Like, Charlotte grabs her hair and she goes, "That's cheating. We don't do that here, sister." And the thing I like is that Charlotte trying to cheat got turned around on her. She tried to use the ropes, and then Bayley did that to win. So it's like, you can think that Bayley was healing there, but it's like she didn't do anything Charlotte didn't do, so it wasn't dirty, really. I thought this was really good. This was a lot of fun. Charlotte took advantage and got on the headset and called Sasha Banks out, which was cool. She got the knees up on an elbow drop. The Boston Crab, that was probably the closest the Boston Crab's been to selling me a ticket for a while. They did really good with that, but Bayley ends up getting the win. I thought this was awesome.
This was a great match. This was really, really, really good stuff. It was hard to expect otherwise. I really like how Bayley has, the heel turn has completely reinvigorated her. And the story here was Bayley had something to prove. That's why she told Sasha to stay back. You don't have to come out. And I like how it continues to play out that storylines. Like Sasha says, well, what, you don't trust me? No, that's not it. I just have to do this by myself. She did it. And like you said, I gleaned the same thing. It's like, okay, Charlotte, you tried to do me dirty. Well, here's how you do it. And when you see a match like this on a Friday night, SmackDown, and you have Charlotte and Bayley who give us a treat. This is what it was. They just give us a treat. It's no wonder WWE leans in so hard on the 4 horsewomen and want to keep them at the top. They want to keep them protected. They want to make sure that they are the stars of the show, because look at what we got.
Yeah.
This was so good. It was physical. Like, they were laying into each other. And on top of that, it was well booked. The right person won. You can't complain about this match on any level. It was a really good match where both women continued to shine. And I think even more now that Charlotte is really leaning into this tweener heel, more heelish personality, that she's had for a while, but she's sort of, it oscillates a bit. how much she uses her size advantage instead of trying to do tornado DDTs and keep flipping off the ropes, which, always she ended up botching a lot of stuff. Now she leans into her physical aspect, and it works so well on Bayley, who's smaller than her. Bayley was wilier. I loved this. I thought it was a great, great match.
Sasha and Bayley celebrate backstage as well. What do you think about denim gear?
Well, it makes sense, but I when I think denim gear, I think of that episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. Not quite what we got tonight.
Well, there's not a lot of meat on the bone in the Sasha and Dolph Ziggler, or not Sasha, Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler defeating Mandy, Rose, and Otis. But I love the booking. Sonya Deville gets the win, despite the having to overcome that denim gear that Mandy was wearing. Like, I bet, like, when she did moves, it chafed. Like, it rubbed you raw a little bit. But she cracks Mandy Rose in the back of the head with a knee while Ziggler holds Otis back. So Ziggler looks like a bastard. Otis looks like he cares about Mandy. Sonya gets the win, and Mandy is a little bit sympathetic. This is another week of this program without fans where they get 4 people over more, and they don't 50-50 anybody.
There you go.
Mandy does not need to win. She does not need to win. Sonya really needs to win. And then, after that, Otis rushes to Mandy's side and gets kicked in the head. This has been outstanding storytelling, amazing execution. This has taken 4 people who were either, I wouldn't even say they were mid-cards. Maybe Ziggler was a mid-card guy. They clearly liked Heavy Machinery a little bit. But Mandy and Sonya got beat all the time. And Ziggler never cracked above the mid-card for a long time. And they got me caring about all 4 of them. This is awesome stuff from WWE. I wish I was this excited to talk about WWE programming more often, because this ruled.
It was fantastic. The most consistent angle that they've had moving forward, and they're doing exactly what we had been saying right when it was time for the reveal, for the Mandy and Otis failed dinner date thing.
Yeah.
We were saying Sonya has to get over. She has to come out of this looking strong, coming across like an utter and complete heel, but a good dominant heel, one who can win matches. That's exactly what they're doing, Sean. And in the match tonight, the women did all the legwork, because Otis was taken out for a good part of the match. It was Mandy and Sonya who took it upon themselves to make the match work. And Mandy took a beating. She did a great Thez press. Her knees are as great as usual, and that knee that Sonya gave just cracked Mandy on the back of the head with. It was good stuff. I love it. And since we are in a situation, a moment where we have, where we're hoping and praying that WWE is going to start building new women stars, and they have to, because goddamn Becky Lynch is gone. It's good that they're building Sonya as one of those, as a heel first and foremost, which is really, really good for SmackDown, and protected. She's been having strong matches and not losing. So and losing and winning clean on top of that. So you can't fault them. They're doing good on this aspect, and I'm excited for it as well. And to cap this one off, the women tonight on SmackDown really shine. Yeah, they were all in tonight, and that was so good to see.
Yeah, I love that, if you all couldn't tell. DJ Cass says, the handicap match for a world title, wild card, trade the brand-to-brand invitation. Never thought I'd see the day Vince McMahon became Vince Russo. There are certainly some parallels as far as short-term booking, no long-term, not paying attention to some things, and stuff like the handicap match, for sure. I think there are an awful lot of differences, though. But, I mean, they work together, so there are going to be some similarities. Lake Lore says, does AJ being traded guarantee he's winning the IC title? I don't think it guarantees it, but I think he's winning the IC title.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. Either that or Jef Hardy beats him and we get that feud going on because WWE can't do anything one time.
Well, I have my pick is still Daniel Bryan. He sold me a ticket with that promo he cut last Friday. I still think it's him and AJ in the finals, but I mean they're pushing hard on the Jef Hardy thing because they have to remind us that they have the best Hardy. They have to remind us of that. So
that's why they won't let him use no more words, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about that. Actually, we got a Forgotten Sons Angry Veteran promo. C. Cutler cut it this time. This is better than last week's smarmy one. But they could do a lot worse than this. I don't give a shit, but they could do a lot worse than this.
Sure. You know, they have a little symbol too.
Sure.
Hey, you know, and they
go ahead.
And sorry, you know, it's I guess there's a certain level of being ballsy to pull that kind of promo over Memorial Day weekend too. You know, we'll just see where it goes. I mean, as far as Forgotten Sons go, we've talked about it before. Their transition onto main roster was a good idea for them. They've looked good in the ring. Their gimmick is their gimmick, and to me, it doesn't connect. But if they can pull off great matches, that's all that matters.
Well, here we are. Donate some super chats, guys, so we can get our 40 in. Our 40 minutes in. Well, here we are, half an hour into our podcast, and it's main event time. IC tourney, quarterfinal. Jef Hardy cuts a promo before this, but Sheamus took over. I loved him trash-talking Michael Cole as he's outside. It's consistent. Also consistent when Sheamus gets rolled up or punched in the face. He's angry, Warren.
Yeah, no, he doesn't like it. And he and Bayley should actually start like the Michael Cole Unappreciation Society.
I would love that. If they met fantastic. Backstage and they were just like bitching about Michael Cole backstage. Right. Oh, that'd be amazing.
And then of course Sheamus would be forced to change his haircut to Bayley's. That'd be fantastic as well.
Yeah, there you go. So after the commercial, Hardy hits a whisper in the wind, and Sheamus does a series of Irish curse backbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
This is slow paced, but it works really well, I thought. Hardy did the rail walk dive. He ate knees on the senton, and Sheamus followed up with a nasty knee. But then that roll up happened, and Hardy got the win.
It was the way to go. I mean, there was no, there really was no other outcome to this one than that. And I liked the match. I liked it. Honestly, I liked it more than Styles and Nakamura. I thought it told a better story. Yeah, it was slower paced, but it worked for Sheamus because he was so dominant. Like he took over the match. He basically had Jef Hardy completely under his thumb for the majority of the match. Hell, he was jogging in place at some point. I loved it. It was just enough of smarm, and it made me realize that right up until this point, Sheamus hadn't been showing much personality out of the ring except big red-headed scowling man. Whereas when he was in the bar, he showed tons of personality with Cesaro. And I kind of felt that tonight as well. Back in the ring, a little more charisma, leaning into his smugness. I liked it. He felt he was in control. Couldn't put Jef Hardy away. Got a little, like you said, got punched in the face and he got mad. But I liked it. I liked the whole story throughout. It was a good one. It was a good main event. It was a good SmackDown overall.
Yeah, I really liked SmackDown this week. I thought they accomplished a whole lot, including they announced next week's matches: Elias versus AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan versus Jef Hardy in the tournament. To me, Bryan and Hardy has to main event that because Hardy is super popular, Bryan super popular. Elias is in one of those situations where he ain't clicking for me. But in addition to the IC title match next week, WWE with a really goddamn weird announcement for Raw. They're doing a triple threat match to face Asuka. Charlotte, the NXT champion, is in there. And I was telling Warren off the air, I get why Charlotte's on Raw and NXT. She was a Raw star who won the NXT title. She's still there. I'm fine with that. But she does not need to be in this match. Shayna Baszler is not in this match after she beat Natalya twice. Instead, Natalya is in this match and Nia Jax. So, you know what we're getting? We're getting Nia Jax pinning Natalya so she can face Asuka because they already showed their cards on Monday and had Nia interact. Why not just save it for 2 weeks later? Why did they book all this shit in reverse?
Okay.
And when Shayna doesn't get pinned, she can be upset and keep hurting people.
Exactly.
Fuck!
There's a lot to unpack on this one.
Not really.
I think there is. There are talking points here. You know, neither you or I are Charlotte haters, Sean.
No,
we enjoy Charlotte's work. That's not the point. We're getting an extra dose of Charlotte, and I don't know if I talked about it on Wednesday's show or if it was on my own show on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Subscribe today. But I predicted that WWE was going to lean in heavy on Charlotte now that Becky's gone, and by God, having her be in a triple threat match for the number one contendership of the Raw Women's title on Monday is leaning in heavy because she doesn't need to be there. Why does it even have to be a triple threat in the first place? It could be just Nia and Natalya if you really want Natalya in there to take a pin. It could be just those two. Because like you said, we know it's going to be Nia and Asuka. We know it because Nia beat up Kairi Sane, adorable recorder playing Kairi Sane. We know that's what's coming. So that's one thing. Second of all, while on SmackDown, they are building Sonya Deville, putting her on week after week so that we can get to know her and detest her as a heel and so on and so forth. Why aren't they doing the same thing with Liv Morgan or Bianca Belair, who have been off the air or just not properly used? Now, for the argument's sake, you could say, well, Liv hasn't been winning either. She lost to Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, and that could keep her out of contention. Okay, sure, I'll buy into that. Bianca Belair has not been losing on Raw since she showed up. She hasn't been losing on Main Event either. And why has she been off Raw for the past 3 weeks? Why couldn't she have been put in this match? If you're just going to throw anyone in there, the logical choice was Shayna Baszler because they want Shayna to be perceived as a monster, as a dominant, but they're not having her wrestle either. Sean, putting Charlotte in this match makes no sense. No sense at all.
I completely agree. Should have been Shayna. Shayna just doesn't take the pin. Natty does. To Nia. And really, Natty shouldn't have been in that damn match either.
Oh, no.
Natty shouldn't be. Ruby Riott shouldn't be. Doesn't make any damn sense. Does not make any sense.
We know why she's there because we've watched wrestling enough to know that she's there to take the pin. Just that. So we're reasoning it out. But in the world of sports entertainment, it doesn't make sense.
We have a final super chat from BMegs19. He says, where does Sheamus rank as a tag team wrestler? That's hard for me to say because, I mean, he and Cesaro were phenomenal as the Bar. Mm-hmm. But the Bar existed for 2.5 years, maybe. Yeah. And, again, phenomenal tag team. But there's not that extensive body of work. Like, just in WWE, you've got the Usos and New Day right now who have lasted longer and have a better body of work. The Viking Raiders, collectively, beyond WWE, have been together much longer and are much more decorated, even though the Bar held the title like 5 times. The Undisputed Era over on NXT have a longer, I think, body of work collectively because they were Red Dragon. So, like, when you say that, it's hard for me to really put him, like, in the top, 20 even? And if you're talking about single wrestlers who have been tag team wrestlers, like Bobby Roode's sitting on the roster. I think he's one of the best tag team wrestlers of all time. Mm-hmm. Like there are a lot of really, really good ones. I mean, I would say if you're talking about individually, top 50, top 75 for sure. The Bar as a team, probably a top 30 WWE team. I would say you could argue about that, but WWE's had a lot of great tag teams. Any thoughts on that, Warren?
No, I agree. Let's not forget that basically this tag team came around because they just didn't know what to do with Sheamus and Cesaro anymore because they had them doing that great best of 7 series. But after that, they were like, hey, we don't know exactly what to do with you, so we're going to do the respect thing and you're going to become a tag team. And quite honestly, I don't think they were meant to be a real tag team for that long. It's just the chemistry was there. The guys got along really well. Then they started wearing the same coats, came out with kilts. It felt like an organic thing. It was like, oh, okay, well, it's clicking. It's given us something to do. Let's just lean into it. So, I wouldn't even put Cesaro as a great tag team wrestler either.
I think he's a great one. I think they're great tag wrestlers. I just don't think they're all-time greats. I get what you mean.
Because Cesaro he's just a talented wrestler, period. But yeah, specifically as far as tag team wrestlers go, maybe not that high. I agree.
J.K. Schwal says, how bad is the Backlash graphic with the greatest wrestling match ever in it? Yikes. Yeah, that was rough. We talked about it on Listen You Boy.
I mean, at some point, honestly, I'm going to tell you, I don't do the Raw recaps, right? But I had this one in my mind when I was there. If I was there, I'd say, Charlie said that because someone put that in her ear and it's a rib. That's what I thought the first time. I was sure it was a rib.
Because it looked like Randy Orton giggled at it.
He was corpsing. He looked like he was corpsing. But then they doubled down on it this week, and then they did the graphic shot. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with this. Yeah. Any match can potentially be the greatest match of all time. And what does this mean? And this is being speculative and a little cynical at the same time. Does this mean that when Backlash is going to come around, the producers are all going to have a meeting and they're all going to be told, so-and-so's producing the Orton Edge match. So everything else, guys, has to be toned down. It has to. I mean, I can see them doing it, but it's so counterproductive. Ay.
My God. Also, Warren, let the people know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. You can find me. I'll stretch this out, Sean, because I know we want a little more time. You can find me at youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. I record my podcast there live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. So why don't you come have a go at it? Subscribe. That's always good, too. Subscribe to the channel. Come over. We have a great live chat as well, and some fun times there. I'm also going to be doing a prediction show for Double or Nothing tomorrow morning on the channel, so if you want to check that out, that'll be great. Otherwise, it's all on Twitter, twitter.com/Mr. Warren Hayes.
We do have one more super chat. The Line Drive says, shot in the dark. The greatest match ever was accompanied by the Greatest Showman soundtrack. Imagine this being some terrible musical. A musical would be, honestly, if they did like a cinematic musical match, I'd be like, what a great fucking rib. What a phenomenal rib on everybody this is. And they were like, you never know until you know. Whew. Guys, I want to thank you all so much. I just hit 50,000 followers. Thank you. That is very cool. I think last year was like half that. So big thank you to you all. Also follow at Fightful Wrestle. We are on Instagram at Fightful Online. We are on Facebook at Fightful Online. Give us a like. We are all over the place. We have a freaking Pinterest, for the love of God. I didn't even know it, but apparently it does really well. I can assure you, I have nothing to do with that. Thank you all so much. We're out.